What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So yesterday I talked about that we had some good news. We talked about the GDP. We talked about how we were further away from a recession. We also talked about the Federal Reserve coming out and saying that there's a good chance that their rate hike that they did this week could be the last one. But there again, I think this is really good news, but we also got to be careful, okay? Yesterday I talked about what was coming, what we are potentially going to see, and all this stuff. But today, the main thing that I want to cover is how we could potentially be thrown off course. All right. So make sure you stick around for this entire video so that you understand what could happen. And these are things that are very likely, but it all depends on what happens over the next few weeks. So I will address that in just a second. All I ask is if you spend just 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really does help out the channel. So what is the good news? Well, talked about it. We know what the good news is. So what do we need to be careful of? Well, here's what I can tell you. The good news is that the US economy grew by 2.4%, okay, for the second quarter of 2023. That's good. But can we keep that up? This is where some are actually fairly concerned. Here's a couple of the reasons why. One of the things that we got to be careful of, and again, just to give you an idea, consumer spending, this actually was less, okay? This we saw some deceleration over this past quarter. We were expecting that, but again, the American people are spending money on things that they haven't really spent money on over the past 2 or 3 years. We're not seeing a lot regarding goods. We're seeing more for services. Again, I told you this. And I talked about this just the other day as well, is for me and my family, we didn't take a lot of vacations over the past 2 or 3 years. We stayed home. We went, if we went somewhere, it was probably somewhere that we could drive. Now lately we've flown to a bunch of different places just to see new cities and sites and all that stuff. And so we're continuing to do that this week as well. Now, here's something else I want you to be well aware of. One of the big things that is happening, right now is that there's a fight for student loan relief or student loan forgiveness. That's still going to happen. We still see that. We still expect that there's going to be a fight for it. But one thing I can tell you is that if we don't get it, there's going to be millions of people that are going to feel like they're screwed, and they might be, okay? And I bring this up because within the next month, really by September, what we're going to see is millions of people are going to have to start paying their average $400 per month student loan payment. When this happens, we are going to see less consumer spending, whether it's for goods and services or for products or travel or whatever. We're going to see this get reduced. Okay, so expect that. And when that does happen, just to give you an idea, we are likely going to see some deceleration. So are we going to see the GDP grow by 2.4% in the next quarter? My guess is no. And will it happen in the fourth quarter? Again, my guess is no. Okay, that's my expectation. Now, here's the other thing. The other reason why we got to be very careful is because of the Fed. There's two things that are really propping up GDP right now. One is going to be government spending. The second one is going to be business investments. And if the Fed actually raises rates again, which we've already seen it this week, but if they raise rates again, this is really going to put a damper on business investments. I don't, for me personally, for my businesses, we're not investing more than what we have lately. We just continue to invest in the same thing. A couple businesses are actually investing less. We're not spending as much money, okay, on things that we were before. We're changing, we're pivoting, because that's something that we have to do. Now, that's for business investments. What about government spending? Well, this is the other issue, and this is why we need to be very careful, because even though this is good news that we're seeing that the GDP this grew by 2.4% in the second quarter of 2023, The problem is, right now, we're still a lot of money that the government is spending. Well, do you know what's happening for fiscal year 2024? Well, the government and Congress is fighting, and they've been doing this for a while, they're fighting over how much money they can spend. Initially, in order to get the debt ceiling raised, Congress came out and, well, specifically, it was Speaker Kevin McCarthy and President Biden. They came out, they negotiated, they reached an agreement, and they finalized the deal. It suspended the debt ceiling for a year until January 1st, 2025. But at the same time, what else it did is it put a limit, a cap on government spending. Well, if the government can't keep spending money like they have been, guess what? Our GDP will get hurt, right? It will come down. So that's the second thing. Business investments are huge, and if the Fed continues to raise rates, that is pretty much going to put a kibosh on that. That's going to stop, or it's going to be limited even further. And if the Fed, or not the Fed, but if Congress can't reach an agreement and continue to spend money the way that we have been, guess what? That also puts a damper on our GDP, which could hurt our economy a little bit further. Now, what are they trying to do? Republicans say we can't continue to spend at current levels. They want to go back to 2022, federal spending. But Democrats say we can't do that because we have to continue with the investments that we've already made. And Republicans say, no, absolutely no way. We are not going to continue with those investments. We have to rein it in. We have to draw it all back, because we have to figure out a way to ensure that we don't continue to go further and further into debt, right? We don't need to keep increasing our deficit. We need to bring it down, but it's going to take some time. So here's the last thing as far as the good news. The good news is that many people are excited that we're getting further away from a recession. The other thing with that is, if we do avoid a recession, if we can control inflation, if we don't see unemployment shoot up, if businesses continue to invest the way that they have been, and things are looking good, right, then we could actually see Congress provide some more meaningful assistance. And what I mean by meaningful is stuff that's actually going to impact the American people. And so again, whether that's for Social Security or for low-income households, we don't know. Whether it's for veterans, whether it's something that's going to go to assist in border security, again, we don't know. But what I can tell you is, if we see all these things work out and we have some success, and success more recently, right? And not 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, but something in the near future, then we could see more of an investment into Social Security, into SNAP beneficiaries, into veterans, right? We see it for border security. There's so many different things, but it all comes down to this one thing. Are we going to dip into a recession or not? As of right now, the expectation is no. We're actually getting further and further away from it. According to multiple economists, they say that their expectation, about a few months ago, 3 to 6 months ago, they were expecting we had about a 75% chance we would dip into a recession. Now we're about 50%. So it's come down about 50%. That's actually really good news there as well. So that's what we know as of right now. Again, as soon as I get more information as to what is going on regarding the U.S. economy, Congress, and how it's impacting you and your money, I promise I will fill you in on all the latest news. All you got to do is 2 things. First off, hit the like button on this video, click that subscribe button, and tick that notification bell so you never miss an update. And I will see you guys on the next one.